Welcome into the opening line report March Madness edition. I'm Drew Martin, joined by Teddy Covers on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. Teddy, welcome in. Happy Monday morning to you.
Hey, great to be here. And of course, when you see me looking to the left over there, it just means I'm tweeting as we go live. So it's not like I wasn't paying attention to the Open, Drew. I'm all ears, man. And this is one of those weeks. This literally. This is my favorite week of college basketball of the year.
Yeah.
It's not close. When we talk about what Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are going to look like, they're 18-hour days. The games will be going until midnight. The first game, the games themselves will be going from 8 a.m. until, it's like 14 plus hours of games. Much more than we'll see next week during the big dance. And obviously, when we're talking about all these different conferences with their tournaments and they're all meaningful, this is a heck of a week. I expect to be burning the midnight oil because this is the type of week where you do your work, you can make some money. So I'm looking forward to conference tournament week like I do every year in college basketball. Of course, we didn't get this week last year. We were just about to get it, and then it all got canceled on the Wednesday. So I don't think that's happening this time around.
Yeah, just about a year ago, guys. Heck, it might have even been today. If I remember right, it was during the Pac-12 conference tournament, and it was that night where it was the last of the college basketball games. So
it was Wednesday night. It was the Wednesday. It was the Wednesday night games, and Thursday everything got canceled.
Mm-hmm. Tough times, but it's been a year, Teddy. I can't say it's been the best of years, but it's been a heck of a year. And we got the opening line report, guys. Thanks for joining us live here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Also, like Teddy said, on Twitter, which I will retweet shortly as well. Feel free to throw out any questions, guys. That's it's more than welcome for this show, especially in the offseason of the NFL. We're going to be breaking down the conference tournament futures here at FanDuel. We're going to be going down in order, ABC order of the conference here, giving our thoughts on teams that might have value, and actually hitting the chat box a lot with any questions, any betting questions, Vegas questions, tournament questions, college basketball questions, any type of questions. Feel free to throw them out here in the chat box and we'll answer them. Right off the top, Teddy, before we get into the conference tournament futures, I have a question for you that I'm doing personally with some success so far. And that is fading teams off of COVID pauses in the first half back of the first game. It's had success. It's not 100%. No, not that any angle is in college basketball or in sports betting, but it's been profitable so far. And I'm going to do it almost blindly throughout the rest of the season. Teams coming off of COVID pauses, there's about 7 or 8 of them left. And wanted to get your thoughts on that kind of angle, that system in sports betting.
So when we have, and first, it's a great question, Drew. And I just want to say, during the NFL season, from August through the beginning of February, this show is strictly formatted. We go through all the NFL opening lines. We talk about where we think the direction of the line and movement is going to be. We talk about what bets you want to make now versus what bets you want to make later.
Right.
We run the show year round because there's lots of other opening lines to talk about and lots of other lines to talk about. And I know that it gives the audience a chance to interact a little bit more and ask more questions and to get that type of feedback. So, we're doing the show to answer your questions. So by all means, anything you got in the chat, in the comment section, please put it in. When it comes to your, what are we going to call it, an angle?
Yeah, I'd call it almost a system, but yeah, it's an angle.
System, absolutely. I love it. Okay, It makes perfect sense. All right, we've seen it. It passes the does it make sense test. Teams coming off the COVID pause,
right,
are going to have issues in that first game back. It passes the does it work test. Because we've seen it work already, the theory versus the practice, and it passes are the markets adjusting enough portion of the equation, because the markets aren't adjusting enough. What the markets are doing is taking the team's power rating that they had before they went on COVID, on their COVID pause, and that's their power rating when they come back from COVID pause. And the reality is that, especially right out of the gate, that first half, you would expect hiccups. You would expect conditioning issues. You would expect defensive lapses. And we've seen that play out. So to say bet against any team coming off a COVID pause in the first half, I love it. Makes sense. Wouldn't talk you out of it.
All right, good stuff, Teddy. Good start to the show, guys. Have a Cash, welcome in. Nellis as well. Paul Blakeney from England, welcome in from across the pond there. If anybody's watching from any cool places, feel free to shout that out in the chat box as well. Always like to see, international and heck, anywhere in the United States, Iowa, California, Florida, Vegas. It's all cool, guys. Throw it out here in the chat box. Teddy Covers on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. I'm Drew Martin on Twitter at Drew Martin Bets. Feel free to throw out questions that way. As we're hitting the conference tournament here, the future odds starting in ABC order. We got the AAC up first, Teddy. We got Houston -165 to win the tournament. And if, of course, that's risking $165 to just win 100. Whereas the second place team here, at least according to FanDuel, Wichita State at +300, Teddy, followed by Memphis +420. SMU +650. Then we get into some long shots here. Big drop off. Central Florida +5,500. Cincinnati, South Florida, Tulsa, all around that number as well. And then rounding it up here, ECU, Temple, and Tulane, all +120. So that would be 120 to 1 to win it. What are you thinking here in the AAC? Any value in your eyes?
So if there's one bet I'm going to make here, it's going to be on the team that lost in the buzzer beater yesterday. That would be the Memphis Tigers at +420. Memphis is really good. Okay. They have motivation to win in this tournament. And we've seen that they can hang with Houston, even on Houston's home court. As they did in yesterday's ball game. So of this grouping, and you're not going to see me talking about favorites. Okay. I'm not going to lay 165 with Houston against the field. Not going to do it. So when we talk about these, I'm looking for dogs. I'm looking for plus prices. Memphis at +420 is one that does stand out to me.
Teddy, question for you. Houston -1 or not 165 to win this AAC, but what about Houston to win the tournament, March Madness for the national championship? I said on a show that they have a puncher's chance. And I took some heat for that. Do you think, not in the top echelon, but maybe after, the Gonzagas, Baylor, do you think Houston belongs there or no? They're even past that?
It's an interesting question. And we certainly haven't seen the AAC teams winning national titles or making Final Fours on any kind of regular basis, which we have to consider with this Houston Cougar team. I don't think Houston cuts down the nets. When I'm thinking about, I don't bet non-Power 5 teams to win it all. Does Houston have the capacity to make a Final Four run? You bet they do. Where's the weakness on that team? I don't see one. I don't know one. Where have they failed to step up? Where have they been unable? Where have they been outclassed? They have depth concerns? No. They have coaching concerns? No. They have turnover concerns? No. Do they rebound the ball? Well, yes. I mean, there's lots of things to like about Houston. But I don't think that they're going to beat Baylor. I don't think they're going to beat Michigan. I don't think they're going to beat Gonzaga. I think when you get to that upper echelon, that the Cougs will come up short.
Teddy, I just heard you say here real quick, AAC teams win the national championship. What about the fact the Big Ten hasn't won the national championship in a long time, since Michigan State, right? And the team Cleaves. That's crazy to me. That stat that the Big Ten hasn't torn down the nets yet.
Yeah, I mean, the Big Ten has been in plenty of Final Fours and even plenty of championship games since that time. They just haven't won any of them. And I can go through a whole list of championship games that the Big Ten has lost, or Final Four games that the Big Ten has lost since the last time, when Mateen Cleaves cut down the nets. Though, I mean, this year could be might be different. Big Ten is long past due. Yeah,
good point there. As we got next conference up, guys, ACC tournament. We got Florida State actually leading the way. Kind of surprised by that, +230. I wouldn't touch that one. Virginia +310, UNC +450, Louisville +650, Va Tech +650 as well. Georgia Tech +1,000, Clemson +2,000, as well as Duke, Syracuse +4,000, Notre Dame 50-1 here. Pittsburgh 55-1, and then we get into the 100 or 1 to more. NC State, Miami, Florida, Boston College, and Wake Forest. Real long shots in the ACC here, Teddy. Any value in your eyes in the Atlantic Coast Conference?
So let's talk some of these teams. I mean, Duke at 20-1 has got to. You have to pay attention to that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because Duke has something to play for. They have all kinds of success in this tournament. The talent level is there. It's been a disaster season for Coach K and company. And again, they were outclassed by North Carolina over the weekend. I'm not convinced that Duke does anything, but at 20-1, I mean, there's a couple of long shots here. Syracuse at 40-1. NC State doesn't even have to play the opening game, and they're 100-1, and they played absolutely their best ball of the year down the stretch. Now, can any of those teams beat the Seminoles or the Cavs or the Tar Heels? I'm not convinced they can. And if I had to make one bet on one of the favorites, it'd probably be North Carolina at plus 450. Again, there's lots of years where the joke has always been that Roy Williams is a tea time for Saturday. He doesn't even want to be playing he doesn't want to be playing all weekend when he expects his team to go on a deep run in the big dance. This isn't one of those years. And North Carolina, certainly, they have the size, they have the depth, they have the point guard play. There's a lot to like about the Tar Heels at plus 450. That piques my interest.
I like it, Teddy. I think the ACC outside of that one is a little bit tough to bet. Plus 230 on Florida State. They're not playing that great of basketball right now. Virginia, we've seen them go up and down. I think athleticism in Virginia isn't really there this year. It's not like the defending national champion Virginia here, as a little tongue in cheek, but it is true, I guess. I just think that they're kind of a step down, but still a good defensive team. Maybe Clemson 20-1, Syracuse 40-1. I don't know.
I don't want Clemson. I don't want Virginia. I'm with you on Virginia. This Virginia team is not where they were. And Clemson's not any good. Clemson's not winning 4 games in this tournament. If I'm making a bet, I would look at long shots, because again, if Duke wins a couple of games, they don't have to win it. You can hedge off profitably. If NC State wins, if they win 1 game, you can hedge off profitably,
Yeah.
And then the Tar Heels at plus 450. And again, it's not a great price on North Carolina. I don't love this bet, but it's something you may want to look at.
We got A10 tournament here. Just 2 teams, Teddy. This one will be quick. St. Bonaventure minus 140, VCU plus 110. The A10 tournament, all but the finals has been played here. And we got the Bonnies versus VCU. Minus 140 for the Bonnies, plus 110 for VCU. Any action here, Teddy?
I mean, I stepped in front of the Bonnies against St. Louis on Saturday. Boy, that was wrong. And one of my conference tournament theories, one of my angles is that when you see the number 1 seed as a dog in a conference tournament, you bet against that dog. That didn't pay out when I bet against St. Bonaventure, but it is a strategy, it is a tried and true strategy that I do look for at this time of the year. I probably won't get involved in this one.
Okay. I mean, St. Bonaventure, I guess one angle I could throw out here is I think St. Bonaventure's already in, even if they lose to VCU, where VCU might need to win this game. So if that's any motivation for you, but going against St. Bonaventure isn't something I'm interested either, Teddy. I could see them making it out of the first weekend, to tell you the truth.
Well, I mean, so from a statistical profile, the Bonnie stats are really impressive. Their top 30 offense and defense, which you don't often see from the mid-majors of the world. So Bonnie's there. They would make a nice sleeper. We'll see who they match up against in the first couple of rounds. But there are funkier Sweet 16 teams that we can imagine than St. Bonaventure, no question.
Teddy, you in the mood to take some questions, or should we steam through the tournaments here?
Let's take a couple of questions. Then we'll come back and talk a little Big 12, Pac-12.
All right, guys. Well, this is the opening line report. Feel free to fire away in the chat box or on Twitter. Any questions you got here at Teddy_covers on Twitter, at Drew Martin Bets on Twitter as well. We got in the top, Kevin Berg and Magician, first in, second in. Always appreciate you guys being early. Any questions, fire away. Young, let's get this money. We got Oakland versus Northern Kentucky. Any inputs? -1.5 is the line from Young Chart. I don't, Teddy, on that one. Not a game I spent a lot of time on. Neither team I bet on throughout the season. So I try not to reinvent the wheel here at conference tournament. But anything here, Oakland, Northern Kentucky, Teddy?
Yeah, I'm with you, and I do not get involved in conference tournaments in conferences that I did not handicap during the regular season. That said, a cursory look of the matchup pages for this game
Mhm.
has me leaning to the over simply because both teams have been flying over the total on a consistent basis of late. Between them, I think they're like 17-2-1 to the over in the last 20 ball games. No surprise here if it is a relatively high scoring affair, although you're not getting bargains in the line here, 147, 147 and a half. Something a little bit lower, maybe I get to the window there, but lean over if I was going to get involved.
Okay, we got Nellis on Twitter saying you guys know if Walters or Strong playing for Northeastern tonight versus Drexel, the CAA, the Colonial Athletic Association tournament, kind of a wild one here. JMU going down to Elon. We got Northeastern, the number 2 seed, I believe. Of course, playing tonight against Drexel. Man, this is going to be a close one, Teddy. I don't know. I think the CAA is just kind of a wild one. It's just pick them all the way down the stretch. So I'm looking at that dogs in this. That's where I would go. So Northeastern didn't really check my list in terms of teams to play on, but it's not one I feel real strong tonight, Teddy.
Yeah, and then the question was about Shaquille Walters, what his status is.
Mm-hmm.
And all I have is undisclosed injury, questionable for tonight. So I have not gotten any updates on that, or the markets haven't had any update on that yet. We would anticipate, this line likely to move based on his status. The markets want to bet. All right, that propensity to want to bet. And what you see consistently at this time of the year is whatever the injury move is, they're just going to knee-jerk bet it one way or the other. So you'll know whether Walter's going to play tonight just by watching the point spread.
Fair enough, Teddy. We got Paul Blakeney watching from England. He's also got a question here. I think you might be able to answer this better than me, Teddy. Hey, guys, when are we going to get our own opening line report mugs? Is that going to be available?
Take the over. I look when it comes to branding and merchandising and that sort of thing. I leave that to other people. To be perfectly honest, it's something I have no interest in shopping around for mugs. It's like when the boys upstairs say, "Hey, we got you some mugs," I'll be like, "Great, here, we'll give them away." But it's not anything. I mean, I'm not gonna spend 1 minute of my life doing that kind of stuff. I'd much rather be focused on capping. I'll leave that for the administration side. So I don't know. Take the over.
Okay. And guys, if you're liking the content, please smash the like button and feel free to throw out any questions here in the chat box. We'll steam through them. We're going to hit the rest of the college conference futures here for the college basketball conference tournaments and answer any questions for the rest of the show. We got James asking a question here. When trying to remember what you thought of a game, example, attitude, stamina, are there certain numbers that you adjust? Do you have a separate ranking for just that?
Ask me that again.
From James Hines in the chat box here on YouTube, the WagerTalk YouTube. When trying to remember what you thought of a game, for example, attitude, stamina, are there certain numbers that you adjust, or do you have a separate ranking for just that?
I don't have necessarily a separate ranking for a team's attitude during the game. And a lot of that, when I talk about the games I watch and what I'm looking for, that's absolutely something I'm looking for. Anything that you find that is not going to be baked into the numbers, that is not statistically based, there can be some real positive expectation situations there. That's where your edges are something that you see or hear or notice or focus on that the markets aren't considering. So as a theory, when you're talking about going back and looking at box scores from some games 2 months ago and you don't maybe remember the nuances of that game, that's why I take a ton of notes. And when I'm sitting and watching games, I always have a laptop in my lap and so I've got notes on hundreds of teams, and I try to keep them organized. It doesn't always work out that way, but there's certainly those are things you want to look for. Anytime you find stuff with nuance that affected hard numbers. The hard numbers are what create the point spreads. And if you can factor in your nuance into the situation and make the hard numbers that much more understandable, it gives you another window to win.
Yeah, Teddy, the only thing I would add on to that is, James, I do kind of the same that Teddy does, always taking notes on the games I'm watching. And attitudes, not so much, other than just being like, this team quit on the season and then they become kind of like just circled fade city. I'm only looking to bet against them, not really looking to bet on them. That's kind of like an attitude thing. Stamina, I don't know, maybe just, how good their bench is and how much they're subbing in players. One thing I will say that's somewhat correlated with that is when a coach will start fouling. So if, let's say, a team's down, 10 points, sometimes you'll see like the Wake Forest coach, I have them circled. If they're down, 9 or 10 points, Teddy, they'll start fouling with like 2 minutes left. And sure enough, whenever that happens, you do not want to be betting the under. I've been burned on it before, and that's how I learned it. So now I have the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. It's all overs only. I'm not looking to bet them under. So it's not exactly stamina, but that's something that I try to circle. If a head coach starts fouling really early, and with conference championships, this is a time of year where if they lose the game, the season's over. So they'll even start fouling more early. That's something that I want to throw out there that might actually help you, find more winners than losers.
Another thing that correlates with that, all right, and you can find this a lot, differences between how teams approach a team's down 8 with 30 seconds left, college hoops, all right. Some teams are going to jack up a 3, some teams are going to take a layup, all right, and there's a huge difference between the teams that jack up a 3 and then miss it and then foul again and then end up losing by 11 versus the teams that take a layup and then take a layup again the next time down and take a layup again the next time down and end up losing by 6. All right. So when you find the teams that do A versus B, you make a note, you pay attention. Oh, this team maybe we want this team as a dog. They're live and they make good decisions in the last minute. Whereas this team, when they're down 8 and there's 40 seconds left, they're guaranteed to lose by 14. It's just how it works. Sorry, not guaranteed, obviously, but those are coaching issues. Those are coach approach issues. Those are team mentality issues. And none of that's baked into any numbers or point spreads. So if you find those edges, you can exploit them. Okay.
And James got another question here, Teddy. We got what are numbers that pro cappers discount that non-pros use? So are there any like misleading stats out there that you try to stay away from?
I mean, I don't even know what non-pro bettors use. I couldn't imagine trying to handicap college basketball or NBA or NFL or any of this stuff based on secondary numbers. I can tell you the numbers that the pros use that they're interested in. It's not about points per game. It's about offensive efficiency. It's not about points allowed per game. It's about defensive efficiency. It's not about the number of rebounds you get. It's about the number of available rebounds you get. It's not about how many assists you have or how many turnovers you have. It's about your assist to turnover ratio. You want to throw some more in there? Because, offensive efficiency, defensive efficiency, percentage of available rebounds, and assist to turnover ratio, that's probably the top 4 stats that you're talking about when you break it down to college basketball team.
Yeah, I agree with you, Teddy. Maybe turnover percentage. Sure. Something that I look at, and in terms of the numbers that I don't think matter too much, like wins and losses. I almost think and this is real casual bettors, like the kinds of guys that are going to get in for March Madness tournament. Looking at it and being like, oh, this team's 19-2. I'm looking to bet on them, but they played nobody. Whereas a Big Ten team might be 15-12 and in the tournament. I'll take that. Just profile bet wise, the Big Ten, at 15-12 over the 19-2, nobody, Teddy.
But sure, yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, straight up record, not really a meaningful stat.
Right. As we make our way down the list, I love the questions, guys. What software do you use to monitor the markets? This is a great shout out for the WagerTalk odds screen, Teddy. Done a lot of work on it, and it's very good, guys. Check it out for both college basketball and the NBA. Just click on it right there, and really updated odds, and it's all free as well. So check that one out. Sports Memo and WagerTalk.com. Good odds screen. Anything else you want to throw out, Teddy?
Yeah, you can pay for an odd service. You can pay a lot of money for an odd service if you want, or you can get one for free. That's every bit as good. It's a good product. I'm not going to blow smoke up anyone's ass. Say, all right, we got a good live odds if we're not any good. It's good. It's a good, and the other thing that's worth noting about both WagerTalk and Sports Member, the live odds product that we have, the free live odds product that we have, is that it's not something that's stale. They're working on this. They've got 3 guys that are working on that every day, and they're continuing to add new features on it feels like on a weekly basis. It's just getting better and better. So no hesitation recommending the WagerTalk or the Sports Memo live odds feed. I keep it open all day, literally all day long.
Yeah, I'm a large portion of the day. I am looking at the odds screen as well. We got Daniel watching from Chattanooga, Tennessee. We'll welcome in Daniel. Guys out there, let us know where you're watching from, and feel free to throw out any questions in the Wager Talk YouTube chat box. Also, if you're watching on Twitter, feel free to throw out any questions that way as well. We got Brian saying, "Who's the favorite to win March Madness?" I would say Gonzaga, followed by Baylor, and then Michigan. Is that right, Teddy?
Yeah, Michigan/Illinois.
Okay.
The Illini are making a pretty strong case to be right there with the Wolverines right now. When you talk about ways to make money in the big dance, betting the favorite to win it all is not one of them. Or betting one of the favorites to win it all is not one of them.
Okay, we got Milwaukee versus Cleveland State, over or under from Bernard Cooper. Cleveland State's pretty good, Teddy, the number 1 seed, and I wouldn't bet against them, but another game that I haven't touched personally.
Yeah, I know Milwaukee's been an over machine. I think they've cashed 9 straight overs, and that's not necessarily something I'm looking to step in front of. The Panthers want to play fast, they want to push tempo, and they're a team that does take layups when they're down in the last minute. As opposed to jacking up threes, which is great for over bettors. So I would lean over there, but it's nothing that I bet.
Okay. We got Kathy saying, when live betting a total, do you have a system or not?
A system. Because it's and I want to actually think about this question for a minute, because I'm trying to think of what I'm doing is is really system based, and it's not. When I'm live betting a total, it's so a game that I had a pre-game opinion about the total, and I didn't get to the window for whatever reason, I'm going to look, if I wanted to bet the over and there's a lull in scoring, I'm going to look after the lull to bet the over at a better number than I could get before a tip-off. If I wanted to bet the under, I'll wait until there's a flurry, and then I will try to bet the under at a better number than I could have gotten before tip-off. So that to me is key, is getting better numbers, because you're laying extra price when you're betting in game. Now that's not a system by any stretch of the imagination. And when I'm watching a game where I didn't have an opinion on the total, but I see something as I'm watching that makes me want to bet it, the theory is still the same. If I want to bet an over, I'm going to wait until there's been a scoring lull, and that's when I want to get down. I don't want to bet the over at the peak after both teams just went down and traded, threes and foul shots and 3 and a foul shot, and boom, you're getting the worst of the number instead of getting the best of it. So a lot of times with the in-game, my in-game, I guess the system is be patient and wait for your opportunity, wait for your number once you decide what bet you want to make.
I second that there, Kathy. And maybe one thing that I'll add to that, and I haven't even really implemented this yet, but it's an idea that I've had in really late in the game. If it's tied or one team's down by 2 points and it's real late and you get a chance to in-game bet it, bet the over, because that overtime option might be a little bit discounted there. And it's something that I'm just throwing out there for you to think about, because getting OT'd with an under hurts. So maybe use it for your advantage. Teddy, we got a couple more questions here and we can get back to the conference futures. St. Mary's or Gonzaga. That's tonight. And of course, we got Gonzaga as the heavy favorite here, Teddy, but they've dropped their last 2 ATS. So looking to lay a big number is something I'm not looking to do here with Gonzaga, especially because they're going to be a 1 seed either way. So I would actually lean with St. Mary's, but not really looking to fade Gonzaga in any form or fashion.
Yeah, I watched the last time these two teams played. I don't want St. Mary's. It's a pass for me. I'm not laying this price with the Zags. The Zags are going to be a very difficult team to get involved with. I don't anticipate betting on or against Gonzaga until, at a minimum, the round of 32. I'm not going to get involved in their first round game when they're laying 30 points to somebody or other. And I'm not likely to get involved. I'm not going to get involved this game, and I'm not likely to get involved tomorrow with the Zags against the BYU Pepperdine winner. I might, but Gonzaga's a really tough team to step in front of because they are that good. But they're priced right. They're priced like the best team in college basketball, which they have been for most of the season. So no bargains to bet on the Zags and no easy way to bet against them. I'm not going to get involved.
We got CGC fan. Who do you got going to the final two, Teddy? Give me two teams here.
Well, I can only take number one seeds right now because I mean, we don't have matchups yet. So all we're doing is talking theory. I'll say Baylor versus Illinois. There you go. That's
okay.
My final two.
I like it. All right.
But without a bracket to look at, say, oh, wow, they're going to trip up here. Oh, wow, this is going to be easy. They got an easy run to the Final Four there. It's just this is not actionable information. There's nothing you can do with that. All right, yeah, I'd say Baylor in Illinois. Okay. I don't know.
Teddy, another question here from Ben saying, hey, guys, thanks for the content. Quick question. How do you approach days like today where there's only a few games and maybe you don't love any of them, but you want to be consistent? This is a good question, Teddy, because to tell you the truth, I go set my numbers about once every other day, if not every 3 days. And today, for whatever reason, I didn't like many of the games either. I got something on Elon Hofstra, but outside of that, I haven't really touched any of the games, Teddy. So I would just tell you, Ben, when you see advantages, pounce on it. On its college basketball Saturday, the last few Saturdays, I've had a bunch of wagers, but days like today, not so much. So just let it simmer. Don't force it. Is what I would say, Teddy.
And that's the single best piece of advice you can give. Don't force anything, dude. If you don't see it, don't bet it. I understand. So you say you want to be consistent. You want to do it the same way every day. And I agree with that approach. And the way you did it for today was I didn't see squat. So you pass. It's okay to pass. There are days, sometimes even on a busy card day, I won't find anything I like and I'll pass. Other times on a busy card day, you find 8 or 10 wagers that you like. I mean, it's just, it's the nature of what we do. But don't think that because you decided I didn't see anything that I wanted to bet, that you passed for a day, that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing or you're getting yourself out of rhythm. As long as you keep your process, how you're breaking down the games, how you're analyzing them, your time periods where you're doing this, you're going through the same formula day in, day out. Passing a day doesn't hurt you at all.
Doesn't hurt you at all. Been listening to Teddy for years. Wealth of info from Brian. Thanks for that. Ronald saying we live. We live, Brian. We live, man. Feel free to throw out any questions here, guys. We got a couple more conference futures we're going to break down here, and then we'll hit the chat box maybe before we end it. So feel free to throw out any more questions in the chat box. WagerTalk YouTube, WagerTalk Twitter, at Teddy_covers, at Drew Martin Bets. Guys, check out sportsmemo.com and WagerTalk.com. $9 Monday today. All plays discounted to just $9. And keep in mind, tomorrow is $2 Tuesday. The hottest handicapper at both websites. Top play discounted to just $2. That's good at Sports Memo and WagerTalk.com. We got Big 12 tournament up next, Teddy. Baylor leading the way at -140. So we got the Baylor Bears risking $100 or $140 to only win 100 against the field for the Big 12 championship. We got Kansas +500, Texas +600. As well as West Virginia, Texas Tech +850. And then we got some long shots here, Teddy. Oklahoma +1100, TCU 100-1, Iowa State and Kansas State both 200-1. Anything you like in here in the Big 12?
So of all of the conferences we're going to talk about, to me, this is the one you can't bet this tournament in the future market. Baylor is absolutely live. Kansas is absolutely live. Texas is absolutely live. West Virginia is absolutely live. Texas Tech is absolutely live. And I think Oklahoma's live as well. So you have 6 teams that are legit live. There's only 9 teams playing. All right. And you're not getting any great bargains on any of them. You're not getting any of them at 20-1 or 25-1. You know, the longest shot of the bunch is Oklahoma at 11-1. I'll be looking to take points in this tournament. I really will. But from a who's going to win it standpoint, when I've got 6 live teams and the best price I can find at any of them is 11-1, there's nothing to do with the future market in this one. There really isn't. Let's talk Pac-12 and SEC as our last two for conference tournaments.
Okay. I just want to add in here West Virginia. It's a team I really like, guys. I mean, going up against Oklahoma State, they did lose by 5, but coming into the tournament, they're going back against Oklahoma State. I think that they're going to win this one. I had West Virginia in terms of like a puncher's shot to win the national championship. I like them. They've played the good teams in the Big 12 tough, but like Teddy was saying, you know, this is a tough one to bet futures at plus 600. Mountain West real quick, Boise State plus 400. I like this Boise State team. I think that they're underrated, you know, splitting with teams like San Diego State to beat Utah State. As well as Colorado State. So, you know, going up against the better teams, they fared well in the Mountain West. They played well against UNLV in Las Vegas on this floor. So I think Boise State, if you're looking for a future in the Mountain West. And then hitting the Pac-12 here, Teddy, in depth, we got USC leading the way plus 200, Colorado plus 220, Oregon plus 310, UCLA plus 500, Stanford as a little bit of a drop off here, Teddy. 15-1, Utah 20-1, Arizona State 30-1, and Oregon State and Washington State 50-1 or more in the Pac-12.
So both the Mountain West and the Pac-12 tournament, I'm not seeing value deep in the field. All right. I don't think Arizona State's going to make a run, or Utah or Oregon State or anything like that. In the Mountain West, I'm not, you know, Wyoming's not getting there, and Fresno's not going to be there, and UNLV is not going to be there, you know? Mm-hmm. So, you know, Mountain West wise, I really think the championship game is San Diego State versus Utah State. You know, that's the top 2 seeds and the shortest 2 prices. And in the Pac-12, it's a similar story. USC is really good. Colorado's really good. Oregon's really good. I don't know UCLA can get. I don't think UCLA has the depth to get there. I don't think Stanford does either. So it's like USC's 2-1, Colorado's 2.2-1, and Oregon's 3.1-1. You're not getting up. You're like, all right, spread it out between the 3. You won't even break even. So when you have a team, again, what I'm looking for in conference tournaments in the future markets is live long shots, live dogs, both the Mountain West and the Pac-12 tourney. I don't see them, which means I'm not going to get involved with these future wagers.
All right, last conference here, guys. We're going to hit the SEC, and then any questions here in the chat box, feel free to fire away. We got SEC tournament future odds here. Alabama leading the way, plus 240. Arkansas, man, Arkansas sleeper, Teddy, plus 300. Tennessee, plus 500. Florida, plus 600. LSU, plus 700. Missouri, plus 1,000. Then we got Kentucky, 15-1. Ole Miss, 25-1. And then a huge drop off here, Teddy, to Mississippi State, 60-1, Georgia, 100-1, South Carolina, 150-1, Texas A&M, 200-1, Vanderbilt, 200-1, and Auburn plus 1,000,000 because they are left out of the postseason.
Yeah, anyone wants to bet Auburn, I'll be happy to book them for you. Yeah. I'll give you as much as you want. All you can eat. So I think Alabama's going to lose. So I don't believe in the favorite in the SEC tournament, which means maybe we're interested in this one. And I'm not a Florida believer either. Okay, so amongst the favorites here, that leaves us with Arkansas at 3-1, Tennessee at 5-1, LSU at 7-1. You can bet all 3 and push if Arkansas wins and make a little bit of money if Tennessee and LSU wins. Those are 3 teams I think are live-ish. However, what about the Kentucky of the world? You know, I talked about Duke and betting Duke in the ACC tournament. I'm going to ask you, you know, the talent's there for Kentucky, isn't it? In this Kentucky tournament, and we certainly know what's on the line for Kentucky. Would you like to take a shot with the Wildcats here?
I think it's worth it. Or, you know, if you're looking for, I'm not a huge futures better, guys, but if you're asking me, past 10-1, what team I would take, it would be Kentucky, because you talk about, top, talent wise, they got it. Plus the fact Calipari, we've seen it year in, year out. Towards the end of the season, they play better. They're just better teams. So with all of those losses at the beginning of the season, I don't like to penalize Kentucky for that. If you're asking me who do I think wins it, Teddy, I think it's Arkansas. I mean, Musselman, what he's done there, they're playing great basketball. I think Arkansas is going to win the SEC tournament, and I think they're going to make a run here in March Madness. So I like Arkansas. Also, Mississippi State at 60-1. They play really good defense. They're long. I think they got I think it's 9 guys 6'6" or taller, 6 of which are 6'8" or taller. So they're tall and they're long there at Mississippi State, and it's 60-1. They can't score very much, but you're looking to take long shots there. So I'd throw out Mississippi State, Kentucky at 15-1, and then I do think Arkansas is going to win it all at plus 300, Teddy.
Sure, and of course, anytime you're talking about a 60-1 dog, all right, they win one game. If you want, you can start hedging.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally, that's what it would take for Mississippi State to be in a positive expectation hedge situation. Now, you're not going to get 60-1 back on those teams if you start hedging after they win one game. Not close. But you lock in a profit, and locking in a profit early is something that, you never go broke taking a profit.
Absolutely. Teddy Covers on Twitter at Teddy_covers. I'm on Twitter at Drew Martin Bets. Guys, a couple questions here to end it. We got Brian saying, how hard will the Zags try? That's the big question. I mean, they lost the last 2 ATS of the regular season. They're already in. They're already a 1 seed. That's why I'm not looking to lay points with them. But like Teddy just talked about earlier in the show, they beat down St. Mary's before, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if they cover here. James saying he's going to have to rewatch this to write down all the info, Teddy. You're really impressing the people out there. What about Dominic? Question here. What coaches do you think are underrated and overrated? Do you have any top of mind here, Teddy? I'd put out Musselman for Arkansas underrated.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we watched him at Nevada with the Wolfpack.
Yeah.
And it's an absolute bet on coach. This is an excellent question. What coach do you think are underrated and overrated? Because in many circumstances, I think coaching is overrated or under, do you understand? It's the players. It's how good the players are. All right. And in any given game, a coach may have some influence. Over the course of a season, the better coaches, teams tend to get better. Izzo's team pulled off an upset yesterday, but you'll find the mainstream media. All right. And again, this is really important with college basketball. Mainstream media doesn't know any of the players on any teams. Okay, they don't. So what they know is the coaches, and the coaches are the marketable guys. So the coaches get the hype, not the players. That's the way it works in college hoops. It's not who's on Duke. It's Coach K. It's not who's on Sparty. It's Izzo. It's not who's on North Carolina. It's Roy Williams. It's not who's on Kentucky. It's Calipari, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The coaches are the stars. And that can warp the betting markets a little bit when the coaches are the ones who get all the hypes and their teams aren't that good. Just ask anyone who's been trying to bet Duke this year, or Michigan State, or whoever, So it's a good question. I don't think I answered it very well, Dominic. But in general, at this time of year, you'll be better served trying to bet on good teams and not good coaches. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, actually, I would, and it's a thought comes to mind. I mean, we're going to have to wait a while to implement it, but for this year, it's over. But for next year, maybe out the gate, because I've never had a lot of success betting college basketball in November and January. For whatever reason, I have way more success in late January, February, early March is where I kind of, for whatever reason, do a lot better. But next year, maybe look for these teams, the Caliparis of the world, the Dukes of the world, where you get the big name coaches. And when you can tell they're not playing good basketball, just look to fade them out the gate, Teddy. What do you think about that kind of system?
It'd be worth paying attention to. I mean, next year, I can't even think about next year, because it's so, it's not where the mentality is right now. And in terms of thinking about potential strategies that might work next December, I'm all in favor of the concept, but it's something we're going to have to revisit next November.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That's something that just kind of put on the back burner, guys, because we got a lot going on here in the month of March. James killing it with the questions here. Number of COVID-19 cases, deaths in the U.S. reported to CDC are at 6-month low. When do you see fans let into the games, Steady? They're already in the games.
Yeah, but so I got to tell a story. Did I tell this? I don't know. Did I talk about when we made the over under? I made an
No.
over under with John Netta, the guy who was in Life on the Line with me.
Okay.
He's a stock trader. He was in the sports betting movie Life on the Line. If you ever want to watch it, I think it's on Amazon. You can find it. No, but it's my movie, so I I have no problems hyping it. So Neto and I are having this discussion. He's like, dude, there's not going to be normal next fall. I'm like, yeah, it is. He's like, no, it isn't. You have a discussion back and forth. So we come up with a line. All right, we got to come up with a line. The line is over under June 30th, 2022. Full stadiums, no masks. All right.
Okay.
So I call my brother. I don't want to hype him too much, but he runs the ICUs at Emory University in Atlanta. He's he's neck deep in COVID, in terms of what he's been dealing with for the last year. I called my brother. I said, dude, I got the best of this number. I was talking to my buddy. He's like, June 30th / July 1st, 2022 for full stadiums, no masks. I'm like, I got the best of it, right? I got the under. My brother comes back. He's like, well, indoor or outdoor stadiums. And I'm like, I just want to flip. I'm like, no, bro, no. Really? Next summer? But next summer, we may still be, it's no done deal that will be indoor stadiums, no masks. A year and 3 months from now. Outdoor may be a different story, but unfortunately, the smart guys in the medical world are telling me that there are still issues that will be ongoing, and we will be wearing masks for longer than we think we will.
Some positive news. I think Petco Park saying they're letting in 8,500 fans to San Diego Padres games, and that's in the state of California. So that's one of the stricter states, Teddy. So that's
sure. And look, 8,500 is nice, but I don't get to win the bet unless it's 50,000 nice.
Right.
With no masks. So, hey, thanks, James. James Mouse, Life on the Line, worth a look. I appreciate that, buddy.
He's got another one here. How much money should I have in my accounts before I get an all access account where I can make enough money to pay for it?
That's an interesting question. And really, if you're betting, I mean, what do you think an all access is the minimum amount you should be betting if you're getting an all access pass? Because they're discounted pretty heavy. The all access pass are discounted pretty heavy, but I would think that you got to be betting. I mean, it's not going to be worth it unless you're betting at least, $50 a game or $100 a game. What would you say?
Yeah, I would say, at least 100. But I don't know.
Because I mean, look, the all access pass, you can get it, when it's discounted, you get it for what, $199 for 30 days for somebody for all of somebody's plays, and that could be, 100 plus plays over the course of a month. I don't even think it has to be $100 unit size to get involved in that. I really, to make it, if you find a capper you think is going to make you money, I think if you're betting, so if let's say a standard 3-unit wager, 3% wager is $50, 55 to win 50 for you, that would be about as low as I think you could do it and still be able to make a profit from the deal. But the all access pass, if you're trying to get on board, all right, the all access pass is the only way to go. If you're just getting involved, you don't want to buy plays. You don't want to buy individual plays and 5% and go chasing. Find someone you trust and bet all their stuff. Then that would be the only way I would recommend to do it.
Okay, good stuff there, Teddy. Guys, check out WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com for all access. Also, $9 Monday today. We got Nick saying, is there ever a situation where taking very short favorites under 3 in basketball, for example, is preferable to laying points? Yeah, talking about the money line versus laying the points. Nick, the only time I do that is at the 1.5 number because I don't want to lose by 1. but I've never actually gone back over 10,000, outcomes and seen the difference between -1 and money line, -2 and money line, -3 and money line, so forth. Teddy, anything here?
So there's lots of arguments both ways. All right. There really are. I get real nervous laying -140 with my short favorites because they lose a lot of those games.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take a +110 or a +115 with a team when if they lose, when you're like, they lose a game by a point or two and maybe you can cash in. So I tend to get more involved with point spreads, even on the lower ranges in basketball, as opposed to money lines. I do. Dean Stevenson saying nice things about me in the chat, but he said, what, BMAC's talking trash on me? Me and BMOC are fine, I think. I thought we were. Last time I talked to him, we were okay. Well, if he's talking trash, I need to know. I got to talk trash right back at him. I think we're okay.
William saying Loyola Chicago to the Final Four. Any thoughts there, Teddy?
Good team. You want to sell them short? I'm not selling that team short. And the efficiency numbers are there. The low post play is there. The guard play is there. The mental toughness is there. I don't expect mid-majors to make the Final Four, but Loyola's liver than most in that regard.
I wonder why BMOC doesn't care for Teddy covers. Is Dean trying to start something here, Teddy?
I don't know. I mean, I think me and BMOC are okay. Again, to my face, he's been fine. If he's trash talking me somewhere else, I got to know about it. So let me know. And BMOC is a guy who gets worked up. He gets a little. He gets very excited sometimes, which is great. He's a character and a half, as Steve just said there. And I appreciate the kind words, Dean. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Hey, great questions in the chat box all show long, guys. Hopefully you got something out of it, both betting knowledge, life knowledge, and conference futures betting knowledge as well. So, Teddy, man, I think we're up against it time-wise, but anything else you want to throw out here before we shut this down?
No, look, next week when we talk, let's do bracket next week.
Oh, yeah,
it's happening. I'll give you my bracket. That's a good thing for next Monday. So, but yeah, next week we have a big dance to talk about. Between now and then, again, this is my single favorite week of the year in college hoops. Enjoy it and good luck.
Conference championship week. And guys, next Monday, we are going to be breaking down the bracket here and taking questions. So come back and join us. The opening line report each and every Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Please smash the like button on your way out. If you're watching on replay, that's cool too. Feel free to leave a comment below and ask any questions, both on YouTube with comments below in the chat box and on Twitter at Drew Martin Bets, at Teddy_covers, and we'll answer them on the show. So guys, thanks for tuning in. Best of luck with